In a world obsessed with fitting in, conforming, and silencing complexity, many people who feel deeply, think critically, and live authentically are told they are too much, too emotional, too intense, too sensitive, too independent. But what if these criticisms were not indicators of dysfunction, but signs of rare psychological brilliance? Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, believed that individuals who do not conform to societal molds often possess an uncommon depth of consciousness. Rather than being flaws to fix, these traits are markers of a personality type he described as differentiated, capable of extraordinary, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual awareness. Let's explore the 8 powerful signs that you may be among this rare group, and how understanding these signs can transform your self-perception, relationships, and purpose. 1. You experience emotional depth. Others can't comprehend. Jung observed that certain individuals don't simply feel emotions, they embody them. Their emotional experiences are not momentary reactions, but rather oceanic waves of insight, reflection, and resonance. He called these emotional complexes affect-toned, suggesting that they are deeply colored by psychological significance. If you've ever been told you're too emotional or too dramatic, understand that Jung saw this intensity not as instability, but as emotional sophistication. You feel the unsaid, you absorb the energy in the room, you detect incongruence in people's words and expressions. Your emotions are your psychological radar. But here lies the danger. When society pressures you to suppress these feelings, you risk internal fragmentation. Jung warned that repressing your emotional truth leads to what he called psychological splitting, a state where part of you tries to conform while the deeper part suffers in silence. To thrive, you must honor your emotional intensity. It is not weakness, it is wisdom. It's time to stop apologizing for your depth and start recognizing it as a rare strength. 2. You question everything with unrelenting curiosity. While most people accept the world at face value, you constantly ask deeper questions. Why are things this way? Why do people behave like this? What lies beneath the surface? Jung referred to this as the transcendent function, a mental orientation that seeks to see beyond limitations and imagine what could be. People with this trait are often seen as rebellious, cynical, or difficult, but in truth, they are psychologically honest. They refuse to lie to themselves or accept shallow explanations. Your questions aren't attacks, they are invitations to grow. But they threaten others' comfort zones, often isolating you. Jung called this the burden of prophetic consciousness, the ability to sense the future, to foresee patterns others ignore. You're not negative. You're ahead of your time. Your mind isn't a problem. It's a lighthouse, illuminating what others are afraid to see. 3. Fierce independence born from psychological survival. Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." For rare personalities, this acceptance often comes through necessity, not choice. You didn't wake up one day and decide to be strong. Life forced you to be. According to Jung's theory of individuation, the process of becoming psychologically whole, this independence is not defensive, but transformative. You've had to become your own emotional anchor, building a selfhood that is not dependent on external validation. But this independence comes with complexity. It can make you intimidating, misunderstood, even lonely. You may attract those who try to control you or fear your freedom. The truth? You don't seek relationships from desperation. You seek them from integrity. You want someone to walk beside you, not complete you. This self-reliant foundation is not arrogance, it's emotional maturity. 4. Intuitive awareness that feels almost psychic. Have you ever known something without being told? Felt an atmosphere shift before anyone said a word? Seen through a person's mask before others even noticed it was a mask? Jung revolutionized psychology by recognizing intuition as a legitimate way of perceiving reality. He described it as a function that perceives the unseen, picking up emotional, symbolic, and energetic information from the unconscious. If you relate to this, you may also be prone to burnout. People like you become emotional containers for others. Unofficial therapists who absorb unspoken pain and keep peace in chaotic spaces. The danger? You might lose yourself in other people's emotional landscapes. Jung stressed the importance of psychological boundaries to protect this gift. You must remember, your intuitive capacity is a superpower, but only if you learn to own it without being owned by it. 5. You crave meaning over social acceptance. Conformity feels like death to your soul. You can't force yourself to care about status, trends, or shallow accomplishments. Jung explained that some personalities are psychologically incapable of living inauthentic lives. This makes you a paradox in modern culture. You might succeed on the outside, but feel empty within. Jung warned that people who betray their inner truth eventually develop neurotic symptoms, anxiety, depression, meaninglessness. You've likely tried to play the game. Follow the script, be what others wanted. But it always ended in emotional revolt. Why? Because your psyche demands meaning. You don't just want a job. You want a mission. You don't just want relationships. You want real connection. Your life isn't driven by fear of rejection, but by the pull of soul-level authenticity. 6. You've outgrown people and places that once fit. Growth has a cost. As you evolve, you'll notice some people no longer resonate with you. Not because you've changed too much, but because you've changed too honestly. Jung described this as psychological death and rebirth. Letting go of outdated roles, beliefs, and relationships can feel like grief, but it's actually a rite of passage. This can lead to what he called the dark night of the soul, a period of loneliness and internal confusion. But it's also the beginning of real alignment. Eventually, you stop seeking compatibility with the past and start attracting resonant relationships, those who see the real you. It's not selfish to move on. It's sacred. Evolution requires courage, and your growth is proof that you've chosen authenticity over comfort. 7. You offer deep presence in a distracted world. Jung believed that the meeting of two personalities could create profound transformation, not through words, but through presence. You don't just listen, you witness. You hold space without judgment. People feel seen around you in ways they rarely experience elsewhere. But this presence comes at a cost. You might feel like the emotional caretaker for everyone, the anchor, the safe harbor. Over time, this can lead to helper syndrome, giving too much without receiving in return. Jung urged those with this trait to develop discernment. Your presence is powerful, but not everyone has earned access to it. You must learn to protect your energy and recognize that you, too, deserve to be held. 8. You sense a larger purpose. You can't yet define. Deep inside, you may feel a constant pull, a whisper that you're meant for something more, even if you can't name it. It's there. Jung called this the archetypal calling, a sense that your life carries transpersonal meaning. This isn't delusion or ego. It's your psyche trying to guide you toward your full potential. Ignoring this urge can result in depression, restlessness, or existential emptiness. But honoring it can unlock your creative, spiritual, and psychological awakening. Your purpose is not about being special. It's about being authentically aligned. According to Jung, rare individuals like you aren't just here for personal growth. You're here to serve collective evolution. You are a bridge between the unconscious and conscious world, helping humanity heal by simply being yourself. You are the leading edge of consciousness. If these signs resonate with you, you're not broken. You're not too intense, too sensitive, or too much. You are exactly as you were meant to be. A rare personality navigating a world that often doesn't understand your depth. Carl Jung believed that people like you, emotionally complex, intuitively gifted, fiercely independent, and driven by meaning, are the leading edge of human consciousness. You're here to help the world awaken, to live by example, to question, to feel, to grow. Yes, the path is lonely at times, but it is also profound. And most importantly, it is necessary. As Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. You are not too much. The world is simply too little. But you are changing that.